Hello, everybody, and welcome to today's special webinar event, How to QA Your Contact Center AI Agents in Salesforce. This session is brought to you by Leaptree AI and produced by SmartBrief. And my name is Mackenzie Puttesy with SmartBrief, a future B2B company, and I'm excited to be your moderator for today's webinar. Now, AI agents are rapidly becoming a core part of the contact center, especially with the rise of Agentforce in Salesforce. But most teams still lack a clear, reliable way to evaluate their performance. On today's session, I'm joined by Neil Young, CEO of Leaptree AI, who's going to be breaking down how to effectively quality assure Agentforce AI agents inside Salesforce. And you're going to be learning how leading teams are moving beyond manual review to build scalable, consistent QA frameworks that work across both AI and human agents. As you can tell, we've got a great session ahead of us today, and I'm excited to start this conversation with Neil. But before I get him up on stage here with me, I'm going to just cover a quick bit of housekeeping, give you an audience console walkthrough so you know exactly where to do what, and then we'll get this show on the road. So first things first, introductions are always in order. As I mentioned, my name is Mackenzie. Excited to be here moderating the session for you there. If you're just joining us or just trickling in and getting orientated, in the upper right-hand side of your console, you're going to find a few tabs, the chat tab, the docs, and the Q&A tab. And in that chat tab there, if you like, feel free to give a quick hi, hello, let us know where you're tuning in from. And overall, this is the perfect tab where you can give us your thoughts, your feedback as we go through the session. Let us know how this information is landing. We love to hear it. We love to see how you're responding to the information here. Alrighty, Shweta, we've got a hello from California there. Ricardo tuning in from Winnipeg, Manitoba. Welcome, welcome. Brendan there from New Jersey. Hey there, Brendan. Good to see it. All right, we'll keep those highs, hellos coming in. Again, love to see that. Oh, we've got Austin, Texas in the house. We've got the DMV, James Rumco. All right, Phoenix. Awesome, guys, thank you. So feel free to keep using the chat. This is also the perfect place to let us know if you have any technical issues during the session. If slides, audio, video aren't loading, aren't syncing up for you, try a quick browser refresh as a first line of defense. But if you're having any persistent issues, myself and Deanna are here, our webinar coordinator, running things smoothly in the background, and we can troubleshoot with you there in the chat tab. Now, to enhance your viewing experience, we do have closed captions that you can activate there in the console. Just hover over your viewport and you'll see those in the bottom right. There's also a light mode. So if you're on mobile, have maybe limited bandwidth, you're traveling, that's a great way to pair down the console there too. Now, we are going to be doing a live Q&A session with our speaker here today. So feel free to submit your questions, but please, rather than the chat tab, put those in the Q&A tab. We're going to be keeping an eye on those as they come through, and we'll do our best to cover as many of your questions here live on the session as we can. We also have the docs tab there. So if you like what you see, you're curious to learn more, you can go and learn through the link, Why Work with Leaptree AI, as well as you can book a demo if you're more of a hands-on person. So I'll remind you about those a little bit later, but feel free to grab those, bookmark them now if you like. Last bit of fun, we have a $250 Amazon gift card up for grabs here, and we're going to be drawing that at the end of today's session. You do need to be live and present on this session to qualify for that prize, as well as meet the prize terms and conditions, which are linked in the docs tab there. Alrighty, I think we've covered it all. So please help me in welcoming to the stage Neil Young, who is the CEO over at Leaptree. Neil, I know we've had the chance in the past to chat. It's been great, and I'm excited to have you back. So welcome to the stage.
Great. Thanks, Mackenzie. Great to see you again. Yeah, this is a very topical conversation at the moment with our customers and the broader Salesforce ecosystem. So looking forward to diving right in. So yeah, what we want to talk about today is how you QA your contact center AI agents in Salesforce. And what that really means is how you use, customers of ours that are using Agentforce, how do they queue quality assurance check those interactions and improve them over time. So yeah, a little bit about Leaptree before we start, just about the problem that we solve. We are an AI-powered CX optimization platform. We lead in very much in the quality assurance, quality management piece that we talk about. And other pillars there, training and development is a big connect with quality management, how we improve the CX teams. And then performance management and gamification connecting them. So there are three core pillars. It's quite a bit to the product, but that's the three core pillars that we lead in and talk to with our customers. And then Amazon is kind of when you look at the infrastructure within the Salesforce ecosystem, Amazon is a key player within that. And then you have the other, like how do you bring your emails and your web chats and your social and your phone system integrations and transcripts into Salesforce to make sure we can solve the QA problem for you across all your channels. That's a key part of what we work with customers today. What we're talking about today is, as I mentioned, is Agentforce. So Agentforce inside this ecosystem and how those autonomous agents and how all that works. So yeah, great. So from left to right, a simple diagram here about Agentforce. And the scenario we want to talk about today is Agentforce from a frontline support perspective. So if you see from the left side, we talk about those different types of interactions, those coming into Service Cloud, and the elements in green here. So we have an agentic layer. So should talk about, Agentforce, that Salesforce, that's their suite of AI-driven tools designed for creating, managing, and deploying autonomous agents into your business. So that's their key lead in. And then when you look at under the brain and under the hood and how it's all pulling that together, and you see these elements in green. So in this scenario, what is Agentforce looking to do? It's looking to support the frontline support team for customers. And in this scenario, we're going to talk about a fictitious company called VaultCare Inc. And I'll show you an example there in a few minutes. But yeah, so we're looking to solve autonomous resolution, frontline support. How can we use AI agents, Agentforce, to help with, increasing first contact resolution, improving CSAT scores, reducing average handling time. So how can we help with that? And, its key focus there, I'd say, is on increasing first contact resolution with AI, with these autonomous agents. And how can we learn from those interactions that are happening? So, some of our customers, they could have thousands of these going through a day. They still have, thousands with their human agents. And you can see here, we've got human agents, tier 2, tier 3. So, or maybe when they're dealing with them at the front line, the first engagement, something's happened in the interaction and they want to move to dealing with a human support. So you're trying to improve that over time, and we can help with that. We can help the improvement of those autonomous resolutions.
Neil, quick question. As you go from sort of the agentic first line and the handoff, I guess we'll dig into it today. But what do those handoff pings usually look like? Is that something kind of real time? Is that something that gets passed through email and followed up upon? How quick is this system typically?
Yeah, what you can find today. So some people have it baked into their processes with Agentforce. So would you like to speak to an agent, or you may prompt Agentforce to say, I'd like to speak to a human agent now, and you should have that within your Agentforce scripting, whereby you allow features like that. So it's kind of like natural language. I'd like to speak to a human now, because you're not getting to the point with the autonomous agent to solve the solution. In the absence of that, what you are seeing in reality is people are just switching to email. So they have an email address. A lot of people lean into web chat. If they're not happy where they're going there, they'll move back into email, send an email. They have it recorded, look for a ticket number. So ideally, you're trying to move away from more of that and have more autonomous resolution. But it's been dealt with today either via email. They switch into email, or there's a way of, when you're dealing with the autonomous agent, how you can basically escalate to a human agent. Yeah, for sure.
Thank you for that.
And then when we talk about Leaptree Optimize, because specifically we mentioned the overview of the company and our product suite. But in reality, what we're seeing here is the core app. So before we add in AI, we can see the amount of your evaluators, the workload that they're getting through, assessing all the agents in the business, the human agents. And then over here, we have all the different types of interactions like emails, chats, phone calls. There could be You see a refund process here. So we also deal with customers whereby they have documentation that's going back out. So content reviews, case reviews, you can also use their technology to support that as well. You might have a scenario whereby you would say, okay, if they're a level one, if they're a level one support agent, we want to review all of their refund processes. If they're a level three, we might say let's review 10%. So we can link with Salesforce skills and support those kind of pieces. So not just refunds. We have some companies use it for think of financial investment statements going back out or any kind of formal documentation that you want to send back out to a customer and needs to be checked. That's also another way, essentially document QA, customer documents. It's all connected to this overarching QA approach. So this is the evaluator view that I show you here. And you can see the coverage that we're getting and the auto fails and the average scores and what productivity, what volume are we getting through in the business. And then from an agent perspective, you're completing these and it's all within Salesforce. So, we complete the assessment and then Nessa straight away receives a notification in Salesforce, the new assessment's being completed. They can click on the link, it brings them into the agent app. It all sits inside Salesforce for the agent as well. They can see their trending performance, how they're doing in certain interactions, break down into sections. They can see where they are from a gamification perspective, what training tasks they have to do. And yeah, it's all within that core Leaptree Optimize app. All that quality management piece, it's all there. And then, as we move then into AI and how we start adding AI on top of the core app. The first piece there, we look at three key techniques here. The first is the standard core app manual QA. So how we help people get from, we help with they're doing 1 to 5% of interactions through our manual QA process, our data sampling tool. But that, unless they really scale up the amount of evaluators, if you're dealing with a company that has, 100,000 interactions a month across all the different channels, how could you realistically do and cover all of that with people within the business? It's quite difficult. So that's why manual QA gives you that data sample percentage. Now, techniques such as auto QA and auto flag allow you to really scale out the coverage. Yeah. Now, there's quite a difference between auto QA and auto flag. Auto QA, and if you can think of the extra secondary work, so auto QA, AI is making our work more intensive. That's actually the reality of the situation. So if I say I want to go from 1% coverage up to from manual QA, turn on auto QA and just say I want to go to 25%, I've just done 25x on the amount of disputes we've got to manage, the amount of coaching tasks we've got to manage. So you're ramping up quite a lot of activity there. And that's okay. So you need more coverage within the business. Maybe there's a balance. And I think what's really important as well is you've got to look at it by each different interaction type. So if you've got standard email support coming in, how many times is there disputes? How many times is there coaching activities needed? So you can balance it out across your different types of interactions. But let's just say you move up to 25%. You've increased a bit of activity around coaching and disputes. And let's say the other 75%, you still want to actually go out there and look for red flags. So auto QA will give good and bad scores. Likewise with manual QA. Auto flag is purely going out to look for red flags within the business. So it's great for risk mitigation, compliance, getting you up to 100% coverage without creating another 75% of scorecards to everybody, to provide to everybody. So it's a great way of giving the balance between you're giving people good scores, but you're also going out to find where's the red flags in the business. And what auto flag does, it actually creates, it'll create scorecards for manual review. So it'll present back. So it will increase some of your manual QA work, but it is allowing you to really ramp up your coverage. So these are the kind of key different techniques we help our customers with today.
And Neil, I know, well, I've had the pleasure of talking to you in the past a little bit, and I'm sure you've already told me this, but for anyone joining for the first time, is there sort of like a Goldilocks perfect number of how many of these cases you want, what percentage you want to hit with coverage versus what you can sort of leave and assume that, hey, it's going to be covered because the average is there?
Yeah, I like it does it all depends on the company, and it all depends on the interaction type. So we see certain companies with high value, let's say VIP customers. They'll set up a schedule, and they could turn on auto flag for um, nearly 90% of those interactions, and 10% is being covered by auto QA. So there's a way of balancing out. And that means they're getting 100% coverage for their VIP customers. And then for other elements such as email, more standard kind of support um, interactions, bringing them up to 25% from 1% is a huge shift. And now you're going into a room and saying, well, um, we've got 1 in 4 data sampling now as opposed to 1 in 100. That's quite a
Mm.
significant shift. So yeah,
Yeah.
they're the kind of realities we're seeing, that it's not all 100%. It may be 100% for certain interaction types. It's probably the best way of putting it.
Okay. Gotcha.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, and then when we add on, I was showing some screens earlier of our core app, and then we add in AI. We're looking at, as we said, how do we help customers based on each different interaction type drive up their coverage rates. And what you'll see here, and this is where we're leading into now, is with Agentforce. So if you can imagine with auto flag, you would never see in reality a customer turn on auto flag for 100% of interactions, because it's only going to give bad scores back. But with Agentforce and with autonomous agents, you don't care. You're not trying to keep your best agents or make sure that you're giving good news as well as bad. You just want to see what the issues are. So for Agentforce, we are seeing where you can turn that on for 100%, and you just want to see. So what we have here is 12,832 interactions through Agentforce within this month, this period. They've created, so let's turn on for 100%. What you have here is a balance of manual assessments. So from this 12,800, 17% have been passed for red flags to be reviewed. So yeah, just that's quite important, is that Agentforce, there's no issues there ramping that up to 100% coverage, spot the red flags and present them for review. And that review is really an opportunity, obviously to improve Agentforce and how it's configured. And we're not going to go down to the depths of how you can improve Agentforce and all the configuration within that. But that's a huge benefit. I think also with Agentforce, if you can imagine, some of the organizations on the call today haven't moved into that world as yet. And if you think as you move in, you want to walk into that as opposed to run, and you turn on Agentforce and you have it for certain business areas, you turn on agentic frontline support, you now have a metric that you can use in terms of the quality of those interactions. So instead of going into a room and saying, yeah, we're dealing with 2,000 per day through, interactions through Agentforce, and it's going really well, you can actually say, okay, we're seeing 10% red flags, but when we review them, we've made some modifications. Next month, we're seeing 5% red flags. So you now have a metric you can manage against Agentforce, as opposed to just the volumes that it's dealing with and the handoff rate. So you might have the volume you're dealing with the handoff rate. If you have a correlation with the quality checking of that, that's a really good sign that you're improving both, reducing the handoff, and you're reducing the quality rate, the quality scores, the red flags that are displayed. And this is an example of how you can track that. And obviously you can report in much deeper than from these dashboards as well.
Neil, what would you say is sort of the average ramp in for organizations who, are starting from nothing and they're going in? Is it a few months? Is it a matter of weeks? It's sort of just to, like you said, walk, not run, and get a real sense of how quickly, month over month, they're able to make these improvements.
Yeah, we there's a few there's a there's a few elements to that answer, to be honest. So, say with our technology, we like people to roll in our core app and get up and running with that within a quarter. Typically 1 quarter, just get the manual QAs, get the templates, get all that kind of figured out, all the core processes. Because AI beyond that then is really just an add-on of a configuration, setting up your AI models. So we like to work within 1 to 2 quarters, ideally 1 quarter, to get up and running with the core app, and then AI follows the second quarter. And then if clients have Agentforce, And everybody's deployment with Agentforce is different. So some people may take a quarter to deploy Agentforce, and it might take longer. It all depends on that process. In our world, we're like 1 quarter into core app and then another quarter into AI. We can speed that up. And then Agentforce is all dependent on the process that they're picking and how they see. We have seen deployments of Agentforce rolling into companies within a quarter as well. So yeah,
Nice.
they're the typical kind of timelines we're seeing. Now, what we'd like to talk about, we'd like to join the two together. So when we talk about, we talked about Agentforce and what that provides, and Leaptree AI, and the features that we can provide there. Very much auto flag is what we see really helping with Agentforce. So yeah, this is the company. So this is a fictitious company called Vaultcare Incorporated. They're very much a smart energy business. They deal with both B2B and B2C customers. In this scenario, we have a retail customer that has bought a backup generator. So if the electricity goes within their region, they want a backup generator for their retail store to make sure they can still deal with transactions, so on and so forth. So they've spun up the web chat now, and we're going too low level into Agentforce. You can see very clearly here from this chat that it's saying, I'm an AI service assistant. How can I help? And then they're saying, look, I need hand with the setup of my generator. I can set, and now we have Agentforce going back with a prompt to say, I can help you with your generator setup. Can you provide more details around the model, the setup steps or issues you need assistance with, and so on and so forth. So now we've engaged, the retail customer has engaged through the website with a web chat, and Agentforce is managing this in the background. So that's the scenario. Now, in the background, there's Agentforce Studio, and this is where you can set up so you can see at the top here, we've got Vaultcare Customer Services. And in here, this is where you define the agent, and you've got your topics and all the different areas that you're dealing with. So, without going into too much detail here, but this is where you're refining and you're building out your Agentforce over time. So what you would like is, if you can think of Leaptree and the QA and the AI side as like the independent police of Agentforce. Okay, so we're monitoring these interactions, seeing where there's any problems, and then we're presenting these red flags back. And what companies really want to do is take those red flags and how do we make this configuration better over time? And on the Leaptree side, this is where we're setting up the no-code questions, the templates. This is how we're saying, okay, when I present this red flag, what are we looking for? So what are we looking to track? What are we looking to assess? So we have to build up the template for what to look for. And then when it's presented back for manual assessment, it's going to highlight where these issues are, but you connect that through these questions, and that's how we join the dots. Then we connect. So I should say we build out an AI learning model. We have a model that will exist for each type of interaction. So if you're Agentforce web chats, inbound web chats, frontline support, that's one model. If you are inbound email support, standard support, English speaking, that's another AI model that we set up, and we join the dots there. So what we're doing here is we're going to a schedule and we say we'd like to turn on auto flag for web chats, and we want to look at 100% of those interactions, which is Agentforce. Now, we have, if you can recall, we have this conversation going back and forth between the customer, the retail customer, the website, and Vaultcare. Now, what you're seeing within this queue here, within Agentforce Studio, auto proc is basically that's an automated conversation happening with Agentforce. Messaging session means it's actually, you see that's waiting. So that's waiting for a human agent to take up that messaging session. So back to your earlier question, Mackenzie, they have a process whereby, I'd like to speak to a human agent now, and it's transferring through that web chat, waiting for a human to pick up that. Okay. And then when you're on the other side of it, I'm in that messaging queue and I click through, I'm monitoring and checking how these interactions are going. On the Vaultcare side, the conversation has progressed. So, we've got a prompt here from Agentforce over here, and then the retail customers come back and said, yes, create the case, but I need to know when can someone actually come out? It's Wednesday now, our event is Saturday. We can't have any delays. and it falls over. Something went wrong, please try again. So they haven't a scenario where they're dealing with this, okay? Or something needs to change in configuration for something around this type of schedule. This is the example that we've presented, okay? So our technology, running QA, running schedules, checking all of these interactions. You've got to think of the volumes here. We're in the thousands or the tens of thousands, and we're just spotting that this had an issue. Okay, so you may have a scenario, this is quite important. You may have a scenario where it will hand off to an agent. You want to know why it did hand off to an agent, but you also have scenarios where something just didn't work properly and they've fallen out. You really want to know how to improve that with Agentforce and your web chat configuration. So we've got, just for demonstration purposes, we generate, 6 flags we generated here. Did the agent start communication in a timely manner? So maybe we need to improve how Agentforce is interacting at the start and, being very courteous. But really what happened and flagged here was that the agent hit a technical issue when processing the request. Okay, this prompts for manual evaluation. I should say we can turn on whereby, okay, just auto score this for me. We know we have an issue. We're going to go just auto score and let me see what that, and that might present a score of 20%, for example. I know what the issue is. I can see the script. Now I'm going to go and improve that. That score as well. So we talk about how many, we showed you a dashboard earlier on, but how many are being created, how many Agentforce interactions are being auto flagged and creating a scorecard. So we have that percentage, but also we want to score, see what the score is. What's the quality score for those Agentforce interactions? By the way, you can also use auto QA. So you just want to say, look, just go and score all of those interactions and give me the percentages, and we can look at it that way as well. But we find auto flag is very relevant for Agentforce compliance. And now this moves, I'm going to start the manual evaluation. So I'm on the Vault Care side. This is my queue that I manage. I can see, so I've got the messaging session here that I can click into and pop up on the right-hand panel, and I can review that whole interaction. I can see what the problems are, and now I have an action. I can now see how I can go and improve Agentforce, and I can explain and respond and report on what we need to do to improve it next. So that's fundamentally how we're joining auto flag with Agentforce and bringing that together inside the Salesforce environment to help you with your improve your Salesforce frontline support over time. Okay, so just to kind of recap on some items there, we mentioned, this is a blown up view here of all the different types of interactions you may have within the business, and Agentforce being one of those. Your Agentforce frontline chats, for example, are one of those interactions that we can help with. So what's really important here is that you've got a full comprehensive QA program. So if you're introducing Agentforce into the business, and how do we deal with QA for that now? Because we have a QA program for emails and just standard chats and phone calls, etc. In cases we can support all of that. So it's fully comprehensive. That's really important, and it's very much around how do you increase the coverage. That's the biggest push we're being asked for at the moment with auto QA and auto flag, and how do we help companies increase their coverage and automate that. So we're focused on the back end of automating, using AI in the back end to automate QA as much as possible. That's really where we're focusing on. And this is just an example of a live example of auto QA. It's where it's actually answering the questions. So we're using predictive AI to answer a question. Yes, they provide, and then we generate comments as well. The agent responded within seconds of the customer's opening message with a greeting and an offer to help, and then so on and so forth. So this is what auto QA is providing for companies today. And I think a really important point, just to bring it all together, is we're Salesforce centric, Agentforce. It's all inside that ecosystem. Now, as I mentioned, with the metrics with Agentforce and how many cases are being presented for review from auto flag. What's your QA score for auto flag? What's your CSAT score? What's your net promoter score? What's your average handling time? If you're bringing all your interactions into Salesforce, you can report on all of these. Our data is fully accessible within your Salesforce reporting environment. You could be using Tableau obviously we know within all of this as well. So all that data is there. It can all be surfaced up. So instead of you looking at in isolation, oh, we use a auto QA in our phone calls over here, and then our emails, we do something different here. Once you bring all the data into Salesforce and having all your metrics there and producing, like that is one thing we have seen with our core app that really helps is the centralized reporting all inside Salesforce, and that the customer care teams, the CX teams, have the ability to write these reports themselves. So all your metrics in there, Salesforce centric, look and feel for the agents, security. It's really powerful. So yeah, great. Look, delighted to run through those scenarios and that use case, and yeah, interested in in what questions we have that's come in.
Okay. So let's get into some questions, Neil. Um, I'm excited to pick your brain a little bit here. And let's
Okay,
start
great.
with this one. First one, I'm going to drop that slide since I feel like you're more interesting than the slide there. So, first question I've got is, hi, I use a third-party chatbot that integrates with Salesforce. Can Leaptree work with this to check for any red flags?
Yeah, obviously we're not. Yeah, so in terms of third-party chatbots, integrating them with Salesforce, there's two scenarios there. So some integrate with Salesforce, and what we need to do is get access to the transcripts. And you would typically you will typically see that you can provide access through either APIs, or the tool may do that natively. So the key thing is that the transcripts come in and live inside Salesforce. So when that happens, we can run auto flag, auto QA. We can run QA assessments or scan for compliance or red flags. Yeah, we can scan them once we can access the data inside Salesforce. And we have seen that before already. So yeah, that happens quite a bit. So yeah, we can support that for sure.
Okay, nice. And is there any advantage to sort of having an external chatbot with maybe some different features, or is that something you could also, like use something that's already native to Leaptree?
Yeah, no, well, it's typically legacy. So people have set up these chatbots previously, and then Agentforce has come along. Now, Agentforce is providing more than just the chatbot functionality, and they just might have a preference for that. They have the technology up and running, working with their website, integrating the Salesforce. So they just may prefer that approach. And so no problems at all there. And whether they want to move into Agentforce or not, once we can access the transcripts, as I said, yeah, there's no issues there. There's no issues.
I have a question. Someone asked about auto flag. So they're asking if they're able to use their auto flag feature for case reviews.
Very good. Yes. So yeah, what you can find, let's take a complaint case, and it has an email that has come in as a complaint. Then there may have been a phone call. Then there may have been emails back and forth. There might have been a follow-up, and then they may initiate a web chat with their case ID. Here's my complaint ID. I haven't heard anything back. I've sent an email, no response. So you might have all those different types of interactions on one case, which is a complaint. And yes, we can interrogate that case with those multi-threads, if you can look at it that way. We can, all those different types of interactions, once we set up an AI model for complaints that deals with emails, phone calls, web chats, for example, if that's a scenario, then we can scan that for quality and use either auto flag, and we can use auto QA in that scenario. Yeah, for sure.
Nice. Thanks for answering that. Question here. So someone said, I like the way this independently checks Agentforce engagements. Am I right in saying your technology does not use Agentforce for its AI analysis?
Good question. So yeah, there's no how would you say, smoke and mirrors here. So yeah, we are a Salesforce ISV, an independent software vendor. This is our technology. We provide an app into Salesforce. We have AWS, which is also the infrastructure underneath Salesforce. We leverage that as well. But our AI models are independent from Agentforce. We don't use Agentforce technology. So yeah, we are very much, we like to see ourselves as the independent police for that. And we are independent from it for sure. Yeah.
Okay. Nice. Excellent. I did not realize Salesforce was on AWS, so I learned that
Yeah.
just now.
Very good.
Excellent. Okay, that's all the questions I've got in the queue for this moment. But Neil, I know, we covered a lot of things today. Is there anything you want to kind of shine a little bit of extra light on, or just resume as we start wrapping things up here?
Yeah, I think like Agentforce is incredibly exciting. I think it started the rubber started to hit the road now recently with how they've approached it, how they've changed the what it provides. It's brought out solution for the contact centers that we really like, whereby it is really approaching kind of a turnkey, close enough to a turnkey solution for providing these types, solving these types of problems. And I can only see those configurations getting better the more you train Agentforce. I think we've all had challenges, be fair to say, to date, working with autonomous agents from websites. It's a very natural thing that you lean into, that you want to engage with a web chat from a website. If you could solve it all there, can you imagine for customers, companies, how much you would take, how much challenges you would solve for support teams? Right. So the more you can improve those web chat, the more you can improve the autonomous agents dealing with that and refine it over time. And I think it's an incredibly strong solution. So yeah, we're all in to support Agentforce, to independently QA it, but we think it's only going to get better and become more prevalent for sure. I think it's right on it now, to be honest.
Excellent. And before I let you go, I know this is still relatively new technology. Not that chatbots are new per se, but sort of the
Yeah.
shift that we're seeing with AI support and the way we can review. Forward thinking, as this is a very rapidly shifting and evolving space, what are you guys thinking about for these kind of coming quarters until the end of the year, or anything that's like really present on your mind in this next little bit?
Yeah, I mean, so how we can make the joy and how we can be a bit more intuitive with the auto flag and the recommendations to Agentforce. So we're looking to explore that a little bit more, that we can maybe create tasks, go a little bit further, kind of make recommendations, connect, present certain elements to the Agentforce administrators of what they may provide better, or how they can provide it better. So we're looking to extend, as opposed to presenting for manual evaluation, how we can go a little bit further and make it a bit more, more intelligent and more in tune with what they need to do to refine that Agentforce configuration. So they're the things we're exploring at the moment in this space.
Exciting. So more things are cooking in the kitchen over there.
Super.
Okay, I was gonna let you go, but we got a question that's in here, so quickly I'm gonna pitch this to you. So James is asking, I don't know if others already have Leaptree, but it's fantastic for the manual reviews. I hear the auto QA with their tiered AI pay options will be a godsend if when we do implement Agentforce. Okay, so not a true question, just some fandom.
Okay, thank you, James. Appreciate it.
Awesome. Well, sorry about that, Neil, but thanks so much. It's been great to pick your brain here. Always love learning what Leaptree is up to, what's new in this space. As obviously it's progressing very rapidly, and there's always new things to learn. So thanks so much, and until next time. Any last words you want to leave with the audience? Anything in terms of getting in touch if they have questions afterwards?
Yeah, just if you go connect with our Leaptree AI, go to our website, you can book a demo, just book a demo that connects to a call with us. You can use our web chat, obviously, as well. And connect with us, and we will go from there and help. And if it's a non-committal demo and you just want to see a little bit more, by all means, just reach out and connect. We're very happy to help the ecosystem.
Awesome. Well, thanks so much, Neil. I appreciate your time.
Thanks, Mackenzie. Great to chat again.
Yeah. All right, everyone. So quick reminder in the docs, if you do want to book that demo, that is linked right in the docs tab. You can also check out the Why Work with Leaptree AI link in there. So if you want to get a little bit of detail beyond what you learned today. Of course, go check out their chatbot. I'd say the proof is in the pudding. You're probably going to love it and want to go further, which is awesome. So we're going to wrap up here in just a couple minutes. Last couple things. We're going to launch a quick survey. We're going to give away the prize. And that's about it. So survey will be popping up where the chat docs Q&A has been. This is just for us here at Smart Brief to get a little bit of feedback on how you enjoyed the session. Did this meet your needs and expectations? And a few questions about the platform. So let us know your hot feedback. This is just for us to keep fine tuning and making sure these webinars are meeting your needs. Aside from that, we're going to give away the $250 gift card, and that is going out to one lucky winner, who is Thomas Romano from Massachusetts. So Thomas, congratulations. We're going to shoot an email over to you and let you know how you can claim that prize right after today's session. And aside from that, just a quick round of thanks. Again, thank you to Leaptree AI for making the session possible. Thank you to Neil for sharing what Leaptree is up to, for answering all of your questions from the audience there. And again, thank you to the audience for being here, taking time out of your busy schedules to keep on top of this ever-evolving topic. And hopefully you enjoyed the session. You learned something new, and you're going to be able to take something away and put it into action in your organization or for your team. If you love this session, you want to check out any more webinars, events.smartbrief.com is the place. That QR code also links there. But other than that, I think we've done it. So everybody, take good care, and until our next webinar again together, have a fantastic rest of your days.